The history of Spyro world records from summoning Saw? Wait, that's not really, it gets smarter, but that's kind of peak, bro. What time is it? Get, I do want to watch that. That goes crazy. Get, I want to watch it.
Spyro is a game that millions around the world grew up playing. The game simply radiates nostalgia, with its mystical worlds and creative levels. But today, I want to take you back to just...
When I was a kid, I had an N64 and my friends had PlayStations. And I remember the only game, well, not the only game, but one of the ones I was most jealous of was Spyro. And I don't even think Spyro is that great of a game, honestly, but it was just so cool looking and so different. And I really wanted to play it bad.
3 months after its original release, in December 1998, Next Generation magazine interviewed the president of Universal Interactive, a man named Mark Cerny. Mark's company helped develop Spyro, and he was asked several typical questions about designing the game. But there was something very interesting that he revealed in this interview. Mark Cerny, the president of the company that made...
Mark Carney, the Prime Minister of Canada, also developed Spyro? That is crazy. The world is smaller than you think, bro. How wild. What a side quest life he's had.
Spyro completed the first ever speedrun of the game. Mark said the following: "I've reached and beaten Nasty Nork in 105 minutes. If anyone can beat that, please email me your time." Well, Mark, I hope that you're able to see this video, because even though it took more than 10 years to get going, your game eventually spawned a massive speedrunning scene. And although you set the first world record, future players broke the game apart like nobody could have imagined.
Okay.
This is the history of how they did it.
Peak. New music? Somebody's all mixing it up? Okay.
Alright, so after the GOAT Mark Cerny, there wasn't much Spyro speedrun activity over the next decade. This isn't too surprising, since speedrunning as a whole was an obscure hobby at the time. However, this changed in 2010 with the emergence of Speed Demos Archive. SDA was a website that accepted and verified high-quality speedruns, where community members could gather to discuss their runs.
I love forums.
Spyro was a popular topic in the early days of SDA. There were lots of posts talking about theoretical speedruns, how you'd have to route everything out. Sometimes, forum goers would casually mention how fast they beat the game, after routing a bit and doing an attempt to go fast. A couple claims from Epic Fail 7 beat Mark Cerny's time. Then, there was a speedrunning tournament where the finals involved racing to complete Spyro 1. 2 runners faced off, but the only one to finish was a speedrunner named Luke RF44.
Okay.
It's unclear if his time of 1 hour, 17 minutes, and 7 seconds was officially a world record. Finally, in June 2010, a group of SDA members were trying to figure out the fastest route through the game. One runner, named Laponier36, did a test run to see what sort of time he could get. His 1:13.09 was good, but had plenty of mistakes, self-admitted by Laponier. It was really just practice to see if his run was viable and how fast it could be. In the comments section of his run was a post by someone named Cotot, who had these amazing words for Laponier. "To be perfectly honest with you, I think I can easily beat your time with no practice whatsoever. You really need to get your act together."
Dude, that is the fucking summation of uploading on YouTube. You could upload to 20 people and get 3 total comments, and one of them's gonna be a dipshit.
Oh well, you've inspired me to beat you now, so expect an upload. This is one of the best YouTube comments I've ever read. And perhaps the best part about it, Cotot actually backed up his claim. Later that year, Cotot submitted his speedrun of Spyro to SDA. He was faster than Laponier by nearly 12 minutes.
Oh my god.
He constructed a brilliant...
Oh my god, watching someone speedrun saying you could beat it and then crushing 12 minutes off it is actually fucking crazy. That's actually walking the walk.
...route through the game, which he wrote about in great detail in the run comments on SDA. So,
definitely
a quick
practiced,
overview for those who are new to Spyro. Throughout the entire game, you're trying to collect gems, rescue dragons, and recover dragon eggs. These are scattered throughout each of the game's 5 worlds. Each world contains a home world, 3 main levels, a flight level, and a boss level. You can choose which to play and which to skip, but to move to the next world, you must reach a certain amount of dragons, gems, or eggs. So, Katote had to figure out which levels he wanted to enter, which he wanted to skip, and the optimal route for collecting just enough of each item to move through the game. By the end, you need to collect 6,000 gems, 50 dragons, and 5 eggs, with different checkpoints earlier to keep progressing through the game. The most important part is the gems. There's so many options.
Wait, did this game actually suck ass? This game like Donkey Kong 64 with a massive collectathon? I never played it. I only watched people play it and thought it looked so cool as a kid. I never played it.
With literally thousands to collect across the levels and the homeworlds. To give you an idea of Katote's strategy, let's look at how he handled the first world, Artisans.
Okay.
He rescued 3 dragons in the homeworld, then completed the flight level, which gives 300 gems. He then entered his first main level, Town Square, and collected 4 dragons, an egg, and just over 100 gems. Katote then entered the level Stone Hill, where he quickly got 3 more dragons to reach 10. This was enough to move to the next world, but instead of exiting the level, he stayed a while longer,
kept farming,
collecting more gems and rescuing an 11th dragon.
Okay, beast.
This is because it's often faster to collect all dragons in a level rather than entering new levels. You need 50 dragons eventually anyway, so might as well collect more in one place.
Yeah.
He even collected 1 more dragon in the homeworld before finally moving to the Peacekeepers world.
Kind of like Stars
with
and
12
Mario?
dragons, 1 egg, and 460 gems. Katote spent much more time in Peacekeepers than Artisans, as there's more gems and dragons to collect. He played all levels and eventually left Peacekeepers with 27 dragons, 2 eggs, and 1,735 gems.
Okay.
Still a ways to go. Next up was Magic Crafters. Katote said this world contained his worst level of the run, Wizard Peak. He got unnecessarily hit a few times, died once, and was sloppy collecting gems. But he did collect a lot of gems in this level and the rest of the world. He reached the 5 eggs he needed, and left the world with 41 dragons and 3,544 gems.
Okay.
The next world was Beastmakers.
He's kind of behind on
It
gems.
contains the infamous level Treetops, which many players struggled with as a kid. At one point, Katote had to do a series of supercharges and then a glide to just barely make it over to an island, which contained both a dragon and about 100 gems. He couldn't afford to skip it, and he died once trying, but he did reach it on the second try.
Okay.
Later in the level, he rescued another dragon and got 300 more gems. By the time Katote finished Beastmakers, he'd gotten his 50th and final dragon. Now it was time for Dreamweavers, where he could focus solely on collecting gems.
Okay.
Katote entered Haunted Towers, Icy Flight, and the boss level for gems. Once he defeated Jacques, he reached 6,000. After 57.5 minutes, Katote had collected everything needed to finish the game.
That's super fast.
It was time to head to Nasty's world.
I guess it's slow.
This world
based on the
contains
video,
2 main levels, Nork Cove and Twilight Harbor, and then the final fight with Nasty Nork. Katote just had to avoid any big mistakes. Both main levels contain a myriad of enemies, but he played well, never dying and taking just a few hits. Finally, in Nasty Nork, Katote chased down the thieves for the 2 keys, chased Nasty Nork himself, and platformed to the end. Game complete in 1 hour.
I gotta be honest, it's a testament to Nintendo and their branding that we know Bowser a lot more than we know Nasty Nork. I've never heard this motherfucker in my life, dude.
1 minute and 46 seconds. In the run description, Katote pointed out that he could have picked up more gems in the early worlds where the game is the easiest. Instead, he had balanced it more through the game, collecting the most in the middle worlds. His run went on SDA and was recognized as the world record.
Beast.
Many site members congratulated him, as this was by far the best speedrun the game had ever seen. But as good as it was, it didn't last very long. Lots of speedrunners were interested in Spyro, and Katote's run just gave them more motivation to try. One such runner was Crash 4. 1596. We'll just call him Crash. At the very end of 2010, Crash beat Katote's run by 5 minutes, partially because of the version of the game he played. Crash played on NTSC, while Katote played on PAL. PAL has a slower frame rate and load times.
Bro, is there ever a game where PAL's the better speedrunning game? We've watched a lot of Summoning Salts, and the PAL version is always slower. Wait, is this are we just nerfing Europeans at the fucking source code level?
Wanted to pop in here real quick to answer Big A's question. While games will typically run faster on NTSC compared to PAL because of the faster refresh rate, there are a few titles that are faster on PAL. Some notable ones include Crash Bandicoot 2, Metal Gear Solid 2, and even Super Mario Sunshine.
And although the developers tried to compensate by making Spyro run faster, it's still 1 to 2 minutes slower than NTSC, so Crash had a built-in advantage.
As we should.
But that wasn't all that Crash did to save time. It was all about the routing. Crash front-loaded his gems, collecting more in the first 2 worlds, which let him skip things in the rest of the game. He was able to spend far less time in the level's high caves, Wizard Peak, treetops, and Metalhead.
Okay.
He didn't even bother entering Haunted Towers and Dreamweavers. This all added up to multiple minutes of time saved, leading to a final time of 56:08. And Crash wasn't done. A month later, he beat his record in a tournament race with a 55:35.
World record in a race,
and a
beast.
few months later, he did it again with a 54:44, specifically playing on PAL so that Kotot could compete with him. This time, he front-loaded his gems even more,
damn, get fucked.
collecting an extra 300 in Beastmaker so he could skip the level Jacques in Dreamweavers. Clearly, a trend was being set. Collect more gems early so you can skip levels later. Over the next few months, Crash made posts on task videos and SDA that offhandedly mentioned new times he'd set on Spyro 1, 54:23, and then a time in the 51-minute range.
No way.
It's possible there were more records in between, but it seems like Crash didn't bother recording these runs because he felt he could do better. He was pulling away with the Spyro 1 record. Then, in late 2011, another top-level runner emerged, a player named Surreal.
Ooh.
He'd been a speedrunner for a while,
Finally,
and since Spyro
username.
was a childhood game for him, he decided to give it a try. And perhaps more than any runner before him, Surreal did an enormous amount of research into his route. Rather than building on past runs, he essentially started from scratch and tried to create the best route possible. He developed a concept called the gem-to-time ratio. It's a way to figure out which gems are the most time efficient to collect.
There's always the story of speedrunning. It's like in the first wave, they're cutting off 10 minutes at a time. And then the autists show up and they start hyper optimizing. And then the route becomes fixed and then it's down to like milliseconds.
For instance, if I can collect 10 gems over there, but it takes 4 seconds, the gem-to-time ratio would be 2.5.
Yup.
Surreal tracked this through the entire run and mapped out what he felt was the optimal route for collecting gems. Surreal regularly raced on Speedruns Live and set several world records in the process.
Beast.
But he also streamed to Justin.tv, and on March 21st, 2012, he set a new record on stream with video that has survived to this day. This was incredible. A huge improvement over the last run with video footage, of 48:58. How did Surreal save nearly 6 minutes? Well, 2 minutes came from NTSC versus PAL. The remaining 4 were because Surreal was built differently. He demonstrated cleaner movement throughout the whole game, which allowed him to pick up time in level after level.
Okay.
He shifted his gems around so that by the time he made it to Dreamweavers, he barely had any to collect.
Oh, nice.
He just picked up a couple hundred in Jacques, then was off to Nasty's world. In Nork Cove, he went for a trick called a wall glide to skip a chunk of the level. While gliding, you can angle Spyro into an inclined surface, and it'll maintain his height or give him more height. Then, by landing in the water repeatedly, you can just barely make it to the ledge. It was first used in a task by Leponier, and Surreal implemented it in his run.
So you don't die in the water? I don't get it.
A new gem route, new tricks, better gameplay, and a 48:58, miles ahead of anybody else playing Spyro. And the best part?
Hitting the water counts as taking 1 point of damage. Okay. You die in 3 jumps in the water, he makes 2. I see.
Surreal was just getting started.
Ooh. Music's the best part of these videos, bro.
Yes, dude.
Music over old gameplay footage.
It's not sub 48, but that's pretty good.
Surreal was Spyro's first
I love
great
that.
speedrunner. Throughout 2012, he lowered the any percent record over and over, streaming all of it live to his fans on Twitch. Most of his videos survived, and it's fascinating to see his gameplay evolve. Starting with his 45-46, Surreal radically changed his gem route yet again. It had long been known that the flight level in Dreamweavers was faster than the one in Artisans by about 15 seconds. However, guards are blocking the Dreamweaver's flight level, and you normally have to use the laser cannon to defeat them.
Okay.
But Surreal found that while rising from a jump, your momentum is preserved after getting hit, so you can get extra height and glide over the guards. This meant Surreal could switch around which flight level he played, and spend barely any time in Artisans at all. With a new route, Surreal kept the records coming. And as he did, he became more and more nonchalant.
I don't understand, that's such a bad...
Finally, after more than a year of record improvements, Surreal got the run he was looking for on November 1st, 2012. A record filled with all the new tricks from the past several months.
Take me back, dude. 2012?
In Town Square, he did a tricky jump where he angled Spyro out to the side, then back toward the ledge, and finally charged to reach solid ground. Runners call it a ledge grind, and it allowed him to reach the upper area without having to go all the way around. Just before entering Crystal Flight in Magic Crafters, Surreal performed a trick called Boldar Skip. Normally when you rescue a dragon, a cutscene plays before you're able to move again. One potential exception is the dragon Boldar. By manipulating the camera away from him, then entering Crystal Flight from the opposite side, you can contact Boldar just before truly entering the level and be credited with rescuing him. No cutscene necessary. In Treetops, Surreal repeatedly used the supercharge ramps to reach islands early, tricks that a casual player wouldn't even think of. All these tricks and more led to a strong 44.08, capping off a streak of 11 straight records from Surreal. He submitted the run to SDA and received positive feedback from both the site verifiers and his peers. Small mistakes made a 43-minute run seem possible, but all agreed that this was an amazing world record. By early 2013, Spyro was one of the fastest growing speed games in the world. Speedrunning as a whole was quite small, but compared to other popular games, Spyro 1 was thriving. So much so that just a few months after his 44.08, Surreal already had 2 new competitors. The first was a player named Saboom. Saboom regularly raced Surreal in 2012, and while Surreal set the records, Saboom improved just behind him. Well, in January 2013, Saboom broke through and got the first 43 in Spyro history. Although it was streamed live to his Twitch account, the footage has since disappeared and can't be viewed today. This was the first time in over a year that Surreal wasn't the record holder. Unsatisfied with this development, he began attempts to take back the record, and it only took him a few days. He cleaned up some mistakes from his 44.08 and beat Saboom by 2 seconds, with a casual "guess I should highlight this" in the description. Surreal still had a bit of an advantage over Saboom, but I mentioned he had 2 competitors.
Who's the other one?
One was Saboom, and the other was BJ. BJ is an interesting case. While Saboom clearly raced alongside Surreal and improved, BJ was more on his own, yet he improved fast. In December 2012, his personal best was over an hour. By February, he had a low 44. I don't know how he did it, but in a matter of weeks, BJ went from a noob to a world record contender. But one lesson he had to learn: it's one thing to be a contender, and it's another thing to actually break a record. On March 7th, 2013, BJ was a bit behind the record going into Beastmakers, but an excellent world pushed him up to essentially tied. Coming down the home stretch, he had only Dreamweavers and Nasty's World remaining. He played Icy Flight, but needed a lot of gems in Jacques to reach 6,000.
Just give me all the gems.
As a virgin, That's
what I need right now.
I think he's got a cool
BJ collected some gems, then glided across this gap. On the other side was a group of armored horrors. All you have to do is jump up and charge them.
It feels like the enemies in this game are not much of a threat, though. It feels like they just fucking breeze past them. Like, the things that are hard aren't the enemies. Oh! Fucking good timing.
sorry for blowing you guys' ears out, but what just happened?
Fucking timing.
He bonked, and the enemy knocked him off.
Wow, get
Run
on
over. No matter, a month later, he had an even better chance. BJ kept it close with the record through Beastmakers, then pulled ahead in Dreamweavers. He was on pace for a 43-4x with just 3 levels to go. Nork Cove and Twilight Harbor both went fine. Now it was time for Nasty Nork. Here at the start, there are 2 thieves holding keys that you must catch,
we know about the keys,
one after
bro.
the other. It's very important to catch them as soon as you see them. If you miss, you have to chase them down. BJ just had to make sure they didn't slip by him.
That's one. Oh!
It's all over. GG.
This kept happening. It was starting to get in his head. So many world record chances that died late. Some of them were ahead of the record by several seconds. It's easy to start convincing yourself that you can't do it when this happens. But BJ stuck with it, and finally on April 16th, he finished off a 43-49.
I freaking did it. It's all over, dude. I did it. It's all over. Oh my god.
Still, BJ felt this was far from his best run. It was slower than many of the record paces he'd had.
Sloppy, really? You're gonna say sloppy, BJ?
In the past couple months, largely thanks to the slow magic crafters. In fact, earlier in this run, after making the mistakes, BJ admitted he wouldn't be happy with this run if it finished as the record.
Because if this ended up being world record, like, I'd be like ashamed, and I'd have to improve it anyways.
So there was still work to do. Later in April, BJ and Surreal both played more any percent runs, trying for a faster time that would satisfy them. And it didn't take long to see results. Surreal struck first with a 43-43, then a week later, BJ countered with a big 43-27. This time, the run description looked different. BJ said, "This is the run that I've wanted for so long." And it was. He saved time in every world except for Peacekeepers. Sub 4330 was now a reality. Early 2013 was a period of rapid growth for Spyro speedrunning. Lots of new world records, set by many new high-level runners. Surreal,
13,
Saboom,
14, those are like the
and
big
BJ all
speedrunning
emerged
Twitch
onto the
years.
scene quickly, and were all record contenders. But there's still one more runner I need to introduce, who started just a bit later than the other 3. His name is Tuval.
Tuval? French?
Tuval had a similar origin to BJ. He began in 2013, lowered his time in the first few months, and gradually became a record contender. He'd go on to be an incredibly prolific speedrunner, most well known for discovering Gelato Beach Skip in Super Mario Sunshine. But back in 2013, he was just starting out, trying to beat the any percent world record in Spyro. After several months of lowering his personal best, on May 18th, 2013, Tuval tied the world record almost to the frame.
Tied it?
Alright. Finally, I gotta get around.
But it didn't make sense. Tuval's movement seemed better, and he made fewer mistakes. Why wasn't he faster?
Is he pal?
Well, one day they figured it out. Tuval was from the UK, and didn't have access to an NTSC console, so he played on emulator, which has slower load times. Tuval had tied the world record, despite playing at a 30-second disadvantage.
Oh shit! That's the EU tax, bro. You gotta pay it.
Every time he rescued a dragon, every time he entered or exited a level, Tuval lost a...
You taxed our T, so in response, we're taxing your speedrunners. It's only fair. Fair's fair, bro. That's how it goes.
Small amount of time. But he didn't care. He wanted the record, and nothing was going to stop him. To make up for the load difference, Tuval spent a lot of time routing the game. In fact, he enjoyed routing more than actually speedrunning. Yeah, he tried to find the very best gems to collect, and while it wasn't hugely different from what other runners did, he saved time around the margins, partially canceling out the load differences. By mid-2013, BJ and Surreal had stepped back from running the game, leaving Saboom and Tuval as the top 2 active runners. That summer, they took turns lowering the record further, eventually getting under 43 minutes. Videos for most of these runs were deleted, Evidence of their existence is scattered across the internet, but we know very little about the runs themselves. One thing we do know is that Saboom used a slower route than Tuval. He did the slowest flight level, Sunny Flight, in Artisans, and entered Terrace Village for a couple dragons. Since Saboom played on console, he likely would have been able to pull away from Tuval, but since he stuck to this slower route, it gave Tuval a chance to compete with him.
I see.
And compete they sure did. By the time we finally have our next run with video, these two guys had battled and taken the record almost a full minute lower, a 42:43 by Tuval. The gem route had totally changed since the last record. Tuval skipped the boss level Dr. Shemp in Peacekeepers, since it takes a while and doesn't have very many gems.
Okay.
This saved a couple minutes, but left him with a 300 gem deficit, which he gradually made up over the next couple worlds. Beyond that, the time saves came from cleaner execution. Even a few seconds in each world can really add up. But despite the improvements, there were still areas that Tuval messed up. So he and Saboom weren't nearly done. Through the rest of 2013, they continued to compete with each other, and the records kept coming.
There we go. Didn't choke.
You gotta celebrate more if you get a world record. That's my one rule for Speedrunners.
There it is.
It's a big deal, celebrate.
It's a 41-41, huh?
41?
By August, the time was down to a 41:18 by Saboom. Following the pattern, it would now be Tuval's turn to take the record back. But I mentioned before that Tuval is an amazing glitch hunter. And well, in August, he made perhaps the greatest discovery in Spyro's history. Twilight Harbor Skip.
Okay.
At the end of the game is Nasty's world, with 3 levels, Nork Cove, Twilight Harbor, and Nasty Nork. Once you beat Nork Cove, the dragon head for Twilight Harbor opens up. Beat that level, and Nasty Nork opens up. But apparently, the developers were in a rush when making the end of the game, because although the top of the Twilight Harbor dragon is solid, the Nasty Nork dragon has no collision at the top. This means if you can somehow get up there, you can enter Nasty Nork even if the dragon head is closed. The developers knew this and decided it was okay, because despite monumental effort, they couldn't find a way to get on top and get through. For 15 years, that system worked just fine. Until Tuval came along. In August 2013, he uploaded a YouTube video called Nasty Nork Early. By standing on the open Nork Cove head, then jumping out of a flop using a technique called a boosted skitter jump, Tuval barely made it to the top where the collision and through to enter Nasty Nork. It meant he skipped playing Twilight Harbor entirely, and saved nearly a full minute on the speedrun.
That's awesome.
Unfortunately, this was extremely difficult. It felt random as to how much height you got from your jump, and overall wasn't well understood. But it was clearly possible, and saved an enormous amount of time. So top runners had to go for it. They'd consistently get runs 40 minutes deep, then lose almost all of them to this one trick. It was exhausting.
Dude, that sucks.
The few months after Twilight Harbor Skip's discovery is another fuzzy period in Spyro's history. We know that Tuval got a 41:16 in September 2013, but from October through the following January, the only known record set was a 40:37 by Saboom. It's very likely that other records were set around this time, especially because of the new skip, but there's no trace of anything. One thing we do know for sure, Twilight Harbor Skip was a massive pain. Saboom and Tuval regularly got runs deep, then had to get this near impossible trick under pressure. What a pain in the ass. It was terrible. So, Tuval looked at the setup. The glitch hunter in him went into overdrive, and he said, I know how to fix this. We need to make Twilight Harbor Skip even harder.
Okay. Alright.
The current route in Nasty's world was to rescue the dragon, play Nork Cove, then jump from the open Twilight Harbor head directly to Nasty Nork, skipping the level. What would be really great was if you could skip all of this and go straight to Nasty Nork from the start.
That would be so sick.
Well, in October 2013, Tuval found a method to do just that. But oh boy, did it make Twilight Harbor Skip look like a walk in the park.
Okay.
See this? This is a rat, which you can kill to replenish health.
Okay.
Not too interesting, unless you ask Tuval. He found that if you lure the rat to the right position, charge jump to kill it, and then race to the corner before it gets there, it can land on you and eject you into the air. You can then land on top of Nork Cove and glide straight to Nasty Nork.
Oh shit!
It's called the Rat Proxy.
Wait,
and
that's
it's
so
stupidly
sick!
hard. You need to read the rat's positioning, then have him charge into the corner, and then need to essentially weave around the side of the rat's hitbox to reach the corner in time. It's like a lottery to get the positioning just
sick,
right
though.
and beat the rat to
What
the
a
corner,
find.
then get the proxy. When Tuval posted this, the community reaction was, "Cool, that'll never be hit in a run, but it's nice that it's possible." For a few months, it was just an oddity and nothing more. Then, Tuval found another method. It was called Coveless.
Okay.
Instead of using the rat, you fly around the back of the Nasty Nork dragon head, work your way up, then glide around inside. Looks pretty easy. It's not. You have to release charge frame perfectly to get a flop upward, then you need several frame perfect wall glides all in a row to get and maintain enough height to
I like the rat one more.
It was slightly easier than the rat proxy, but not much. Tuval tried hitting it on console, and said it took him 1,000 tries. Both Coveless and the rat proxy would save 40 seconds if ever hit in the run, but they were magnitudes harder than the already difficult Twilight Harbor skip.
Yeah.
So improbable that they weren't even worth trying.
Dude, that rat one is
All
so
runners
sick.
could
That's a
realistically
6
do in a run was Twilight Harbor skip. But maybe one day, the rat proxy or Coveless would come into play. Anyway, Tuval still had work to do, and in the spring of 2014 he set 2 more records, a 40.25 and a 40.03.
You gotta break 40!
Most notably, he finally acquired an NTSC console and eliminated his 30-second disadvantage.
Oh, beast.
Then on June 7th, Tuval broke the 40-minute barrier with a 39.46.
Beast.
A lot of the time save came from better movement and cleaning up small mistakes. Nothing too flashy, but this is the work you must put in if you want to set world records.
Yep.
Yet, since it still took him 3 tries to get Twilight Harbor skip, Tuval had to push onward. Once again, the timeline isn't 100% clear after this, but we know that 2.5 months later, Saboom got an enormous world record improvement of 39.16.
50 seconds off.
There's no video, and not much is known about the run itself, but we know that the YouTube description simply said, "no words," so this run was likely way ahead of its time. In January 2015, Tuval beat it with a 39.12, a run where he decided to just fly into a wall in Alpine Ridge. Oh, that makes more sense. There's no collision, and it's a more direct route. By now, Tuval and Saboom had been trading the record.
What the f are these devs doing? Just put collision in. How do they just fucking make everything no collide
for
at the
years, from a 43-minute run all the way to a low 39. They had separated themselves as by far the best runners of Spyro any percent. But Spyro has another main category, 120%, where you must collect every single gem, dragon, and egg in the game. These two categories were on roughly equal footing, each with its own set of speedrunners. And in early 2015, 120%'s top runner decided to give any percent a try. His name was Chris LBC. Chris was the longtime record holder in 120%. He'd beaten Tuval in mid-2014 and hadn't looked back, setting 10 records in a row and lowering the time by 2 full minutes. Across all that, he'd mostly ignored any percent, but after dominating 120%, he was ready for a new challenge. As you'd expect, he picked up any percent fast, but it was a very different run from 120%. Since you're picking and choosing what to collect, your route matters a ton, and since it's a shorter run, there's less wiggle room overall. The most frustrating part of the run for Chris was Twilight Harbor skip, which isn't used in 120%. He developed some consistency with it just like Tuval and Saboom, but still, Chris hated making it so far into runs just to throw most of them away.
Yeah, what a pain.
He grinded attempts like crazy, accumulating thousands of runs in just a few months. He was pretty aggressive at resetting early if he wasn't on a pace that he wanted.
Okay.
But thanks to his expertise in 120%, his movement was impeccable, which let him pick up time over other runners. In late 2015, Chris got on the best pace Spyro any percent had ever seen.
Okay.
He amassed a 30 gem lead after Beastmakers while being even with the record. Just about the only mistake was when he struggled to get an egg in Magic Crafters. After Jacques, Chris had about a 10-second lead over the 3912 world record.
Okay.
But it was time for Twilight Harbor Skip. If he got this first try, he could get an incredible sub 39.
To the mouse!
Second try, and he could still break the record by a few seconds. Anything slower, and it was likely over.
Ah, first try! Lean forward. Gamer lean. Oh, let's go! 38!
Oh my god, it happened.
That's hard to beat.
It took him many months, but it was worth the wait. Chris broke Tuval's record by 17 seconds. This was a near perfect run. His mistakes were extremely minimal, and there just wasn't much time save available. So naturally, Tuval had to try and beat it.
Okay.
In March 2016, Tuval got on a run that fell behind early, lots of bonks and small mistakes. He then missed the proxy at the start of Clifftown, where an enemy lands on and ejects you up to the roof. He had to die and try again. Then, Misty Bog was disastrous. At the end of the level, there's a hallway filled with enemies. It's a very inconsistent room. Sometimes you make it through unscathed, other times you take lots of damage. In this run, Tuval got hit several times, taking 3 hits from frogs before finally dying from a Nork. It cost him about 20 seconds. By the time he made it to Nasty's world, Tuval was over a half-minute behind the record.
GG!
A first-try Twilight Harbor skip wouldn't come close to saving this. The only option remaining was to try and skip both Nork Cove and Twilight Harbor.
Okay, wait.
I mentioned before there were 2 methods for this, and the more consistent one was coveless.
To the mouse!
That's what Tuval was going to try to go for.
Okay.
But it wasn't looking good. He'd spent hours practicing just to hit it once. Yet it was his only option to try and save this run.
Okay. Oh? Oh?
What?
Oh! Wait a minute!
Okay. Well then.
What is that? That's a crazy
There
punch.
exists a scale of how hard various speedrunners pop off when they do something cool. Tuval is pretty close to the bottom. This was the most amazing thing Spyro speedrunning had ever seen. With his back against the wall, Tuval had hit a 1 in 1,000 trick to save a world record.
That is sick.
His reaction? Well then, this wasn't supposed to happen. Maybe he was in shock.
I have to rant about this. I don't get it. It's so common watching these videos. If you are going to dedicate your life to an obscure video game and put thousands and thousands of hours in, and you finally get the goal you've been grinding for hours, be a little excited. Just let people know how much this means to you. You're like, fuck yeah, you give them pop off a little bit, bro. Half the time they shit on their own run. I guess that was a world record. God, that sucked. Pop off, bro.
But the rest of the community lost their minds. Tuval had gotten coveless in a record. The rest of the run was nothing special, big slowdowns in almost every world. But the fact alone that it had coveless made it very strong. The best hope of beating it would be to build up a huge lead without any of the mistakes that Tuval made, then bleed most of, but not all of it, to skipping coveless. It was a long shot, even for these guys. For the next year and a half, nobody new got a sub 40, and none of the top few runners improved their times at all. There was much more focus on 120%, where the world record dropped by nearly 2 full minutes. All the while, Tuval's 38.51 remained on top in any percent.
Beast.
Finally, in late 2017, there was an improvement. Saboom reportedly got a 38.42, but yet again the video was deleted. Still, it can't be overstated what Saboom did for Spyro speedrunning. He used strategies years ahead of his time, and when his videos were viewable, his runs almost looked like they were from the future. He did this in multiple categories across several Spyro games. Then in mid-2018, it was beaten again, this time by Chris LBC. It followed the exact blueprint from earlier. He cleaned up all of Tuvel's mistakes, gave back time from skipping Kovalis, and still got a nice world record of 38-31.
Wow. Nice.
Well, really it was more than just a nice record, it was nearly perfect for the strategies used. Chris nailed everything, had no substantial mistakes, and got probably the cleanest record the game had ever seen.
Okay, respect.
It was so good that it thrust Spyro Any% into a dormant period.
Right, too good.
See, the 38-31 signified a run reaching its breaking point. To realistically lower the record further, Kovalis now had to be implemented in all runs. And there wasn't much motivation to run a category where more than 99% of runs were destined to die at the very end. All top runners agreed it wasn't worth trying.
Yeah, that's miserable.
So they all stopped. In the second half of 2018,
and then COVID,
all of 2019,
it happened every
time.
Every fucking time, dude. It's like the game was dead, the speed run was basically over, and then COVID happens. Everyone's locked at home, and they just break every fucking million new glitches come out.
There was hardly any movement at the top of the leaderboard.
COVID brought speedrunning back everywhere.
Quiet. Chris, Saboom, and Tuvel all weren't budging. To break the gridlock at the top, one of two things needed to happen. Either something new had to be discovered,
or a global pandemic.
A new contender had to come along. Well, as fate would have it, in late 2020, Spyro got its first new record contender in years. And he's one of the most unique speedrunning personalities I've ever encountered. His name is Deoman.
Let's go! This one's for anybody who's ever loved somebody, man! I love you! Keep chugging!
Oh, I like this guy!
Keep loving! Oh!
Yeah, he's got personality!
Remember the pop-off scale? Well, Deo is at the complete opposite end.
Let's
competing
go!
with the likes of Nifsky and VAJ. When he sets a record, he'll yell,
"Yes, mother! That's right, baby! That's right! 121.52
Oh, this is my goal!
New world record!
give a motivational speech,
I thought it wasn't gonna happen. I thought world record. I thought Saboom was just too good.
or do something completely random.
Throw on, pass it to me right now. Bopper. Oh.
This is my goal.
He first started watching Spyro speedruns back when he was in high school, and his true passion was 120%. He preferred the simplicity of it. You could just focus on your movement, no need to worry about gems and routing so much. But perhaps most importantly, Deo hated the idea of Twilight Harbor skip, and the fact that it was now replaced by something even harder. He just wanted to stay away from any percent and focus on 120% where it wasn't needed.
What a pain in the
So
ass.
he did. For many months, Deo grinded 120%, and in December 2020, he beat Saboom and broke the world record.
What a beast.
Let's go! Oh! You're over the let's go!
That's what I'm talking about! Yeah!
One, two!
His power
Is that
level
so
was
hard?
increasing. With 120% done, the next thing Deo could conquer was any percent. But again, Kovalis wasn't exactly his idea of a good time. Well, luckily for Deoman, right around the time he broke the 120% record, there was an advancement at the end of any percent runs. It all comes back to the rat.
Oh,
A Spyro runner named Hopkid had long been interested in the rat proxy. He wondered if there was any way to make it more consistent. As it stood, rat proxy was even worse than Kovalis. You did a charge jump into the wall, hoped you beat the rat there, and hoped to proxy. It was far, far under a 1% trick.
Okay.
Well, in 2020, Hopkid found a new method that was sort of the inverse of a charge jump. You'd start with a jump, then glide in toward the rat, charge to kill it, and have the rat land on top of you.
Oh.
Approaching the rat's hit sphere from above and slightly in front meant it was much easier to beat it to the corner. However, it also meant you now had to wait for the rat to go into the corner.
Okay,
And
that's not that
depending
bad.
on its pattern, this could be instant, could take several
that
seconds, or
sucks.
could even take several minutes. Hopkid made a tutorial for his new
Oh,
method
that
in mid-2020,
sucks.
but it was mostly ignored by any percent runners. When Deo saw this, his reaction was, And I quote, "Well, all these people are too lazy to do it in any percent, so I'll be the first."
Beast.
And so began Deo's quest. Hit the rat proxy in a run and break the world record.
Okay, beast.
His consistency with the trick wasn't good, but it gradually got better. First 1 in 100, then 1 in 50. To practice, anytime he had a run make it there, he tried the trick until he hit it, even if it took dozens of attempts.
Okay.
Using this method, his consistency improved, and he occasionally had sessions as good as 1 in 10. He almost never hit it first try, but he was getting better.
Okay, beast.
It all led to a run on January 19th, 2021. While Deo made plenty of mistakes in Peacekeepers and Magic Crafters, he made it all the way to Nasty's World, and finally got a first try rat proxy.
Woo!
Come on, baby! This is the one! This is the one right here!
He ultimately finished with a 38-33, just 2 seconds behind the world record.
Oh.
Deo was officially record capable. All he had to do now was get another slightly faster run into Nasty's World
then do it
and
again.
hit another rat proxy.
Dude, the rat
Not
proxy's
too
sick.
bad,
It's
right?
like a really sick hit.
Oh, man, come on! Pray
Again.
for me. Please pray for me. This run
Again.
can either be insane or it will probably die. One of those two. So please pray for me.
Oh, rip.
No, dude.
Okay. Oh, it's a fucking pain in the ass glitch.
That hurts. That hurts. Why don't he want me, man? Why don't this run want me, man?
I like his personality. Oh!
No!
Dude.
Come on,
It
dude.
looks like it's working. I have fucking pain in the ass glitch.
Let's
Okay. Okay.
go. Okay. Okay. Let's go. Okay. This could be world record.
Boom!
Let's go. Let's go. New world record 38-20. Come on, man.
There it was. Deo was now the
Let's
record
go!
holder in both 120% and any percent. In this run, he was pretty close with Chris's record through Peacekeepers, but suffered a big time loss when he lost his supercharge early in high caves. He saved a bit from great movement through Beastmakers, and while he had to wait about 15 seconds on the rat, he pulled way ahead after getting the proxy. And though it seemed to be inevitable for weeks, now that it had happened, Deo couldn't believe it.
Holy moly. Hi, YouTube. Hi, YouTube. What up, YouTube?
After a few hours, reality set in, and after thinking on it, Deo posted a message to Discord. "I'm not done." He explained that he kind of only got record because of the rat proxy, and that beyond the new trick, this was a worse run than Chris's 38-31. Speaking objectively, it's hard to disagree with that. Deo said he'd only feel good about it if he got a 37.
I scrolled up and saw a lot of salty comments about my execution. I'm sorry. I want to be good, and like you, I want the world record to be an optimized run. I know I only got the record because of the rat. It's cheap, I get it. Shut the f up. Salty ass, bitch ass comments. Bro, he did the fucking hard trick. You want to beat the world record? You do the fucking rat trick.
Hard to disagree with that. Deo said he'd only feel good about it if he got a 37-minute run. That would be comparable to what Chris got, plus the new rat proxy. It'd truly be a better record no matter how you looked at it. Over the next few weeks, Deo scored a couple small record cuts, a 38-15 followed by a 38-14. Each one had a second try rat proxy at the end, leaving obvious room for improvement.
God,
One
this
new
rat trick is
strategy
so
he used
stupid.
was a wall clip in Metalhead.
Whoa.
It works like a proxy, except the enemy's hitbox is so big that it ejects you forward.
Whoa.
It was found by Hummeldon and saves about 8 seconds. These new records were nice, but not quite what Deo was looking for.
37
On March 23rd, Deo fell behind early after missing this jump in Dry Canyon. But after that, things went really well. He gradually chipped into his deficit, so that by the time he made it to Nasty's World, he was only barely behind.
Okay.
And then, Deo got a first try rat proxy.
Okay. 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 Okay, let's go.
Yeah!
Yeah, baby, 3803. Come on.
A huge record and very close to
This is
his
like my
goal.
favorite speedrunner ever.
But due to his big mishap in Dry Canyon, he was still a few seconds short. As great as this was, Deo didn't want to stop. He continued his stream that day, and a short while later, he got on another run.
Same day?
A lot of high-level Spyro players would reset at this point. Do you think resetting got me a world record? Think about that.
He's just got a good attitude, bro.
All right, guys, pray. Can I do the back-to-back, bro? If I get another first try rat, dude, that'd be so legendary. That would just be the best.
Come on, rat. Oh! He's the goat!
You're kidding me. Okay.
He's the goat, bro. Boom! 37!
The back-to-back! The back-to-back! Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I am the best there ever was. The best. Legendary. 2 world records in one day. The first 37 ever done in this game. Woo!
Cinema!
Oh, man.
I
am
love that.
sick and I'm humble.
Perhaps the greatest accomplishment in Spyro
That's great.
speedrunning
That's
history.
an awesome pop-off.
A 3803 and a 3757
That's
on the
awesome.
same day. He started as just a 120% specialist. Now, Deo was undoubtedly the game's best player, no matter the category.
Yup.
And he'd just broken probably the last-minute barrier possible in
Spyro go.
Spyro Any %. Mission accomplished.
2 perfect rats. Two perfect rats. Are you kidding me?
Chris, Saboom, and Tuvol all weren't interested in playing anymore, and there really wasn't anyone else record capable. Even if there was,
Damn,
this was an
bro.
optimized world record
He did it.
with a first try rat proxy. Deo had put it in a good spot. Top level Spyro has historically had alternating periods of activity and inactivity. After the 3757, it was inactive for about a year and a half. But in 2022, it entered a period of activity that has lasted to this day. It all started that November with the emergence of a new top-level runner, Lumi Laura.
Lumi Laura.
Laura first got into Spyro speedrunning in 2020, and while she had an unassuming start, that gradually changed. When Deo got his 3757, she was down in 24th place. In early
43
2022, she became the 9th
grind.
person to get a sub 40.
She was in Ludwig's Fast 50?
Half a year
That's
later,
cool.
she became the 5th person to get a 38. It was slow, methodical improvement, but it made Laura into a record contender by mid-2022. Part of the way she did this was by creating a new route nicknamed Bikeless. In high caves, there's a strat called Bike Caves, where you supercharge and then quickly run through the level collecting 104 gems.
Okay.
It's very difficult and historically killed a lot of runs. Laura decided to try skipping it and collect those 104 gems elsewhere, scattered through the earlier and later worlds.
How are they still
It actually
changing the
ended up
gem
being
route?
faster and much more consistent. It meant she got many more runs to the end game. But as we know, in the end
The
game
rat.
is the rat. And as good as your pace is, it really doesn't matter until you get the rat proxy. In November 2022, Laura got a 3808 with a 14-second mistake in Dreamweavers. Take out that mistake, and the run would have beaten Deo. It was clear now that Laura had what it took to break the record.
She got the
But
rat?
just like Deo, she had to get the rat proxy on a good pace.
Dude, having to wait for the rat is so fucking
This again,
ridiculous.
really?
I'm surprised you're not so much madder. I would be so mad.
Oh, he diverted off to the left. Why?
This is exactly what Deo went through 2 years earlier.
Dude, what a pain
Run
in the
after
ass.
run on record pace, all dead to the rat. Laura was losing faith she'd ever be able to hit it
What
in
a
a run.
pain in the ass.
So, in a bold move, Laura decided to go back to Coveless full-time and ignore the rat proxy. Coveless was a really unlikely trick, but she wasn't getting the rat, so maybe it was worth a try. It was just a matter of getting another run to Nasty's World, which at this point she did regularly. But on March 14th, Laura got not only a good pace, but the best pace Spyro had ever seen into Nasty's World. A 35.54, way ahead of the world record. Her bikeless route was executed to perfection, and the run was virtually mistake-free.
I'm locked in.
It was time to put her theory to the test.
Coveless
Laura
or bust?
was going to go for Coveless.
Boom. Okay. Hit the water. Ah! Oh no! Oh no!
Come on.
Last chance.
Okay. All right, it's fine. We've got a chance at rat. It's rat. We got a chance at rat.
We gotta go rat.
That's not going in.
Oh god. Dude, you have to wait for this stupid Chungus rat.
Wait, we got another chance. We've got so much time. Literally got this chance.
Oh my god.
Oh! Oh my god. No. Oh my god.
Yeah, you still gotta clutch up.
Oh my god.
You still gotta clutch up. You still gotta clutch up.
This is it. This is it.
That's tight.
Boom! Yes! Yes!
That's awesome.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
3 years of build-up, and Laura had finally done it. And it couldn't have been a stranger run. The best pace ever seen by far, then going for and missing Coveless before backing it up with a first try rat proxy. At the end of it all was an outburst of pure emotion.
It wasn't a first try, it was a second try rat proxy.
Oh my god, it's 37.55 by me! By me!
The journey to break a world record sure isn't easy. It isn't straightforward, and it'll push you to your limits. But when it finally happens, the sense of accomplishment is unmatched. There were now 2 players with a sub-38, Laura and Deo. But they weren't the only record contenders. It took Laura a while to get the 37.55, several months of grinding in late 2022 and early 2023. And in that time, another new player popped up, Atrioc. Laura's slow and steady improvement to the top was the complete opposite of Ash. She began as a top-level Vortex runner in 2021, a side category of Spyro speedrunning. So by the time she took any percent more seriously in late 2022, she was able to quickly go from a 41.18 to a 39 flat, all during Laura's push for the top spot. Ash became a world record threat in a matter of weeks.
Jesus.
Ultimately, Laura's record lasted just a few days before Ash beat it with a 37.46.
Oh my god. That's
now, in a lot of ways, this run wasn't as good as Laura's. Ash slowly bled time through Peacekeepers, had a not great Misty Bog, and missed the cliff.
Was it a first try rat?
But these were all fairly small mistakes, and most importantly, she got a first try rat proxy to save 30 seconds over Laura.
That rat is so warped.
Ash actually wrote in the description to just go watch Laura's run since it was better. But that's the power of a first try rat proxy. So, we have Laura's run, which was amazing but bled half a minute in Nasty's World, and we have Ash's run, which was much slower but had an amazing Nasty's World. Combine these 2 runs, and the result would be a sub 37.30.
Sheesh.
That was the new goal. But although they ascended the leaderboard at different speeds, Laura and Ash both arrived there at the same time and really enjoyed competing with each other. In fact, they looked at this goal as a collaboration, not a competition. They wanted to help each other get the 37.2x. Over the spring of 2023, that's exactly what played out.
That's big of him. Because when I was racing Linkus for the world record, I used to put poison in his food to try and make him subtly worse. So like, it's just interesting how you have different, like I would like invite him over to meals and then I would put a little bit of poison in it. Not like a lot, not to kill him, but just like slow him down, you know? Tough but fair. That's why he had a heart attack in his run. That rat trick is pissing me off just watching. Oh? The run? Oh. 37-27!
The dream run!
After weeks of back and forth, Laura got her self-described dream run.
37,
time losses were very
27.
minimal. Getting stuck on a wall in night flight, missing gems in Misty Bog, some small movement mistakes, all adding up to just a handful of seconds across a more than half-hour speed run. Laura and Ash had worked together to take the run to this point, and while Laura had crossed the finish line, they both deserve the credit. This was a good spot to let the record rest for a while. It was sub 37:30, a nice round milestone, and speedrunners like round milestones. All in all, a fantastic world record. But speedrunners are constantly looking for something new. A faster trick, a more consistent setup. A once optimized record can instantly become subpar. Depending on what's discovered, someone can wreak havoc just by discovering a new strategy.
Okay.
Laura's 37-27 lasted for a few months, but in mid-2023, a player named Days Bagabones came along. Mr. Bagabones discovered a couple new tricks in rapid succession.
Okay.
First, the long back rat, a method to force the rat to the corner without relying so much on its pattern. This was absolutely huge for consistency. You line yourself up in front of the rat so that the hitboxes are just barely touching, then press square for exactly 2 frames to kill it, and hold left or right so the rat drags you along with it to the corner. This is called getting surfed. There are many variations of the long back rat depending on the rat's starting position. So although a ton of RNG was taken out, the trade-off was having to learn a seemingly endless amount of small adjustments.
Yeah, but still.
But boy was it worth it. With practice, top-level runners are able to get the long back rat about a third of the time. Long gone are the days of 1 in 1,000 lottery tickets. The long back rat means any deep pace has a good chance. The other trick Days found was Nestor Skip. At the very start of the game is a dragon named Nestor, literally right in front of you. Runners didn't collect him because he's the only dragon in the entire game where you can't skip his dialogue. At least, you couldn't until Days Bagabones came along.
Oh?
By perfectly timing and positioning a flop, you can get stuck on top of his hitbox. The game auto-kills Spyro after a few seconds, and the cutscene never plays despite collecting the dragon.
That's beast.
It's an extremely difficult quadruple frame perfect trick, with timings all over the place.
That's beast.
In most attempts, you would reach the top but just fall off after a moment. It was initially viewed as unviable for runs, but gradually any percent players warmed up to it. It saves about 7 seconds, and runners had to individually decide if that was enough to grind this over and over again at the start of runs. Between Nestor Skip and the long back rat, Days Bagabones had breathed new life into Spyro speedrunning. A sentence that's never been spoken before. With new strategies come new records. In the fall of 2023, Laura and Ash took turns lowering the world record another 10 seconds. Laura chose to do Nestor Skip while Ash did not, and ultimately that did give Laura a bit of an advantage. By the end of 2023, her 37:19 remained as the world record. We've seen a lot from Laura and Ash lately, but there was one contender who'd been uncharacteristically quiet over the past few years. Deoman. Deo hadn't touched any percent since 2021. He'd put all of his focus into 120%. In 2023, he got what he considered to be the ultimate run of the category, an hour and 20 minutes, the 120 in 120%. Once he got that, he embarked on a new quest. After all these years, could he climb the mountain again and reclaim the any percent world record? Deo had work to do. He had to learn bike lists, the long back rat, and other small optimizations. However, just like Ash, he decided to not go for Nestor Skip.
Everybody in the Spyro Discord be like, you know that route is actually not as good. Shut the f up, nerds.
It meant he got a lot of runs going.
This guy calling other people in the Spyro Discord community nerds. You fucking nerd. I just grind speedruns for thousands of hours of Spyro like a fucking jock Chad.
And results quickly followed. In late March 2024, Deo got PBs on back-to-back days, 37:30 and 37:28. They each had big time losses, but despite the break, his skill was clearly right back up there with his rivals. But he wasn't the only one making a push. On April 7th, Ash tied Laura's record quite literally to the frame.
Wow.
37:19.233.
That's insane.
2 days later, she beat it by a second with a 37:18. Just as before, Ash had a knack for making quick moves in any percent. World records 48 hours apart. But the 37:18 did have mistakes, and there was still room to take it lower. He put the pressure back on Deo. In mid-April, he closed in with a 37:25, which had a death at the start of Clifftown. It would have been world record if not for that mistake.
Yikes!
Ash countered with a 37:17 and 37:15 again just days later.
Yes.
We're in 2024 now.
Yes.
As good as Deo was, Ash had a fast response every single time. She was relentless. But they were still neck and neck. Either runner had a chance at getting the dream run. On May 28th, Deo got a run that matched his PB's strong first two worlds, then started gradually pulling ahead.
Okay.
He entered Misty Bog, one of the hardest levels, and it went well.
Okay.
The good vibes kept rolling.
Okay.
A solid treetops, then he got the clip in Metalhead and even got a gold split.
Okay.
After Dreamweavers went well, this was officially the fastest run ever going into the Rat Proxy.
Okay.
Deo had no
First try
choice
rat?
but to stay calm despite what was unfolding. This was the highest pressure attempt at the Rat Proxy of all time.
Long back rat. Oh! Oh! First try!
Alright, here we go.
Damn, he's f***ing locked in. Oh!
Yeah, dude.
Damn, he's actually not even popped out. He's like,
It didn't set in at
how
first.
much effort that
Perhaps he
was.
turned off his adrenaline to try and finish the run. But the celebration ramped up over time. And we even got a classic Deoman speech.
I was like hoping I could get in the low 37:10s, and even then I was considering putting it down at that point. This run was really something special.
This was an amazing run.
Hell yeah.
So amazing that it was close to another minute barrier. There really wasn't much time to save, but if Deo could find 4 more seconds, he'd have a sub 37. Speedrunners can't resist those milestones.
Yeah.
Deo kept going. He played all through the summer of 2024, but with such an optimized record, he struggled to get much. On August 23rd, he came really close to the 37 flat, missing the barrier by just a quarter of a second.
That sucks.
And it
That
didn't
sucks.
take long to go the rest of the way. 10 days later, Deo had another extremely close run midway through, had a sloppy Alpine Ridge to lose a few seconds, and from there was nearly flawless. A first try rat, a quick chase, and all the pop-offs that he'd suppressed came out at once. It took Deo 6 months of regular playing to get the sub 37. The community gave him his well-deserved congratulations, even his competitors who'd played right alongside him. This was everything he wanted. The 120 and 120%,
37.
and the sub 37 in any percent.
Damn,
Deo's journey was
goated.
complete. His only time losses were small, 1 to 2 seconds here and there. This was a run that was poised to stand as the world record for a long, long time. But in speedrunning, you just never know what to expect. It only takes one new runner, or one new strategy. Deo poured his heart and soul into this 36:58, and it was an amazing run. But it lasted as the record for just a few months. In early 2025, along came a new top runner to any percent.
Now.
Composer. Much like Ash, Composer got their start in Vortex, getting the world record there in 2022. Vortex is a short run, where every fraction of a second matters. It requires close attention to detail, and Composer applied that idea to any percent. They wanted to squeeze every last frame out of the run, and literally programmed practice codes to grind certain tricks over and over.
That's what you gotta do.
A consistency-first mentality seen in the world's best speedrunners, like Nitsky and Suigi. But we know how good Deo's run was, and there were no big time saves available. So to try and beat it, Composer looked for small time saves around the edges.
Okay, nerd.
Some that they'd found, and some found by others. Turning around faster in Clifftown before jumping on this roof. Taking a harsher line coming out of Shemp. A faster blind turn up the magic stairs. Turning around to the last gems faster in treetops.
Okay.
There was a lot more like this. Individually, they each saved a second or less. But combined, Composer could save several seconds over Deo.
Sure.
This was Composer's attention to detail in full effect. It's the small things adding up. And it worked. In January 2025, 4 months after Deo's sub 37, Composer beat it by exactly 1 second.
Damn.
The community recognized that Composer had the potential to go much further. In an effort to reclaim his record, Deo came back to attempts with a brand new route called Shempless. He'd do Nestor skip and hang on to the extra dragon, then skip the boss Dr. Shemp in Peacekeepers, where he gave back the one dragon advantage. It saved a few seconds, and on April 25th, he got a 3657 of his own. Composer, on the other hand, tried something a little different. They wanted to switch routes, but were insistent on not doing Nestor skip. So they still skipped Dr. Shemp, but collected Ivor in Dry Canyon instead of Nestor. This is a very difficult dragon to collect fast, and uses boosted skitter jumps, just like in the old Twilight Harbor skip. But Composer preferred it over Nestor skip, and used it to get a 3643.
Oh my god.
A few days after that, they decided to randomly try Nestor skip when someone in chat suggested it, and then broke the record with a 3639.
Let's go!
So now, they kind of had to do it going forward.
Wow.
Composer's final new route included Nestor skip, Ivor, and Shempless. It was a brilliant route and helped him save even more time. After another record of 36:38 in July, Deo was left in the dust. The new time saves and routes were hard to keep up with, and Composer's consistency was unreal. He needed some sort of a response. And on August 6th, he got one with a 36:47, 9 seconds behind the record and still not using the new route. But a few days later, Composer improved again with a 36:35.
Jesus.
Deo just couldn't
They're a machine.
Up. Finally, Deo decided if he was going to stand a chance, he had to commit to the new route with Ivor. It was a pain, but Composer had raised the bar. This was the only way to compete with them. But would it be enough? On August 25th, Deo fell a bit behind early, then made a mistake in Bite
Respected
Caves,
Deo for
which
learning
was
the
now
new
back in the run. He then missed an egg in Wizard Peak, and
hard
had to
to
get
do.
a backup at the end. This was a pretty big deficit now. It was time to see what this new route could do.
Banger music.
I tied it! Oh! I tied record!
Tie?
Let's go!
For the second time, Deo had tied the record. But unlike the tie from a few months ago, this was technically a couple frames faster than Composer's run. So it was, officially, a new world record.
Yeah, that's cool.
Composer saw what Deo had done, and booted up a stream of any percent.
Composer's grinding right now. Yo, let's go. This would kind of break my heart a little, but it would be kind of funny. If Composer beat the 35 today, I could totally see that happening, by the way.
Composer's kind of a machine. Oh!
GG.
Well, at least he got a few hours of enjoyment. It made it look
Damn,
easy.
bro.
Spyro has never seen a player like Composer. Many talented former record holders are just behind them on the leaderboard, but they struggle to keep up. And a lot of that is because of Composer's mentality. It's consistency over everything, and trying to optimize even the smallest of time saves. It may seem pointless on an individual level, but zoom out and they're able to pull time out of thin air. Over the course of a few weeks in the summer of 2025, Composer set 5 more world records in a row, going from 36:30 down to 36:22. The new route helped, the long back rat helped, but mostly, it was their relentless attention to detail. Composer was able to save time that simply wasn't available to other top runners. Most interesting of all was the run they got on September 25th, 2025. The run had 2 key mistakes in the levels Treetops and Jacques. It was a hopeless situation. Unless they could bust out a trick named Fasty Nork. By unlocking the Nasty Nork key without triggering his cue to run, you can get far enough ahead of him that the game panics and teleports him straight to the end of the chase. You can then reach him with a frame-perfect jump and extremely tight positioning. Composer had no choice but to try it. And they actually hit it, saving 5 seconds at the very end, just enough to claim a new world record.
Beast.
This past February, Composer was in a similar spot. No choice but to try Fasty Nork.
Oh my god!
And they did it again, bringing back another run from the dead.
Holy dude!
Spyro's had so many good runners over the years, from Surreal and his dozen records in a row, to Tuval and his game-breaking discoveries, and the more recent records set by Deo, Laura, and Ash. But Composer is special. They've taken over in a way that's almost unheard of given modern competition. I've seen a lot over the years, but this is really impressive. This is how the top of the leaderboard currently looks. A pretty comfortable lead for Composer.
Yeah, pretty big lead.
Will they stay on top for years? Or is Mark Cerny about to make his comeback at last? Time will tell. This has been the history of Spyro World Records.
Yeah, really cool.
Thanks for watching.
Cool cast of characters. Cool pop-offs. He's done it again, folks. Maybe BJ will come back. Was that a better video than why the Honda Fit is the greatest car ever made? Probably not, but a close second today.